What was your first guitar?
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude! It was my first guitar was it didn't even have a name on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just acoustic, and the strings were about a half mile off the fretboard.
Yeah.
There was no reinforcement,
Yeah.
And my parents were like, "Well, you learn to play that, and we'll get you something else." And it was literally unplayable.
That's the thing. It's like, because a lot of guys will come to me like with, "Oh, my kid wants to learn how to play guitar," and they'll try to get them. What was the name of that guy? Esteban.
Yeah,
and they'll try to buy just hunks of shit. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have to spend a little money because it's gonna rip their fingers apart, and they're not gonna be able to play this fucking thing.
Man, the thing that I wished I had an Esteban.
Really,
it was that bad,
I always thought that guy should go to jail for the amount of shit he put at this.
So, do you know the story behind him, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So we're about to get off in the weeds.
All right.
So Esteban, I forget his real name. His real name's like John Smith or something. Esteban's kind of like a character he came up with, of course. But he was like, you know who Segovia was, right?
No.
Well, Segovia is like the father of modern classical guitar. He was, like the man.
Okay.
He was his protege.
Okay.
And in the 70s, I think it was the 70s or 80s, he was in a really horrific car accident. Esteban was.
Mm-hmm.
And it messed his hand up.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't play to that level any longer. Mm-hmm. So he invented this whole Esteban thing and started playing flamenco, which isn't too terribly far removed from classical guitar.
Uh-huh.
But the whole Esteban thing is just a shtick. That's like Kiss putting on their makeup.
Right.
The hat and the thing.
That's interesting.
In fact, he, and the dude's making buku.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive.
Is he?
A friend of mine worked at a music store, a chain store, and used to sell him guitars. Like he's got a massive collection of like pre-World War II Martins and shit. Like he's legit like got a massive collection. And he was in New York and he wanted to buy this one Martin. And my buddy is like in Texas. And the manager of the store says, "Hey, listen, he's wanting to buy this guitar, but he's wanting you to get commission on it. It's a whole thing." Mm-hmm. So Esteban pulls out like the black Amex that is in like like a freaking titanium case and shit, and swipes it and makes sure my friend gets the commission on it. But that's how I know all this information. Is my buddy. He's high up and sold him a bunch of shit. But yeah, dude, he was like the heir to the throne, and then got mangled up in a car accident and had to reinvent himself.
So then he went on QVC and
started
selling
chucking hunks of shit so kids can get their fingers ripped off. Jackass.
I remember my parents bought me this electric guitar when I was a kid. It was like, it was from Sears, but it wasn't like, what were those called? Like Silvertone. It wasn't anything like that.
It's probably a Court or...
It wasn't. It was more of a toy than a guitar, though. Like,
okay.
It was real. I mean, it was a piece of fucking shit. And I had it for like a couple days, and I remember saying that. I said, I can't play this thing, even as a kid. And said like, okay, we'll get you another one, and it never did.
Man, so I think my grandparents got me that. I had a guitar, and I can remember from when I was really young, like 3 or 4 year old, and it was same kind of deal as probably a Sears or something. I just remember it was a brown acoustic. And I just beat the hell out of this thing, and then finally I beat it until the last string broke, and then it disappeared. And then, like I was 10 or 11, and my grandparents got me that one guitar for Christmas. And, they same kind of deal. And I understand parents, they don't want to spend, a lot of money because, decent music instruments are expensive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get any cheaper as you go older, as you stay with it.
No.
Just understand that, kids. Anyway, it was so bad. I suffered with that thing for like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And then 2 years later on Christmas, I got a Les Paul knockoff, which I still have kind of pieces of. I've got the neck and the body. It was a bolt-on. It was called a Yakima.
Okay.
And I've tried to find another one, but I haven't been able to find one. But I kept that one for another couple years, and it was decent. And then I got a peavey Patriot, and I've still got that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had that guitar for 33 years or something, dude.
Huh.
It's an 88 model, and I got it in 89.
What color is it?
Black, maple fretboard, maple neck, one pickup, tremolo. And I actually went to so this is a cool story. My dad and my mom kept me home from school one day in 8th grade, and took me to the music store in town, and went in and said, "Okay, pick your one out." And I got to pick out. That was the first time I got to pick out my guitar, and that was a special day.
Right?
You get acknowledged. Okay, you've put in some work. Now we're going to get you something nice. So that was the first really nice guitar I got, and I still got it. It was I still remember what I paid for it. It was like $350.
That's a lot back then.
It was a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the guitar and the case. And outside of that, I actually had done some work around somewhere, and I had a few extra dollars, and I bought a strap and a cable. And I still had like I've still got the amp.
Wow.
It's a little K, 5 or 6 watt, or a 5 watt 6-inch speaker, 1 volume, 1 tone, and it had a little pull pot that you could like get some fuzz out of it.
Right.
So I still got the first amp, and I kind of still have the second guitar and parts of the first guitar.
Wow.
But yeah, that was like back in 89, $350, and you got a case. And the guitar was made in the U.S.
Yeah.
It was a peavey,
The thing will last forever.
Yeah. The basswood body. But I actually got on Reverb a little while ago, and I thought about buying another one just for shits, but I couldn't find one.
Yeah. Huh. I wish my first bass, let me think about this for a second. Well, see, okay, so that peavey, we're talking about peavey a lot.
Yeah. So speaking of T60s and 20s.
Yeah, that T40 over there. Okay, so that was my grandfather's.
Yeah.
And he bought that thing new. I think it's late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And he stopped playing, and I just kind of ended up with it. But I had that, and then like when I was in cover bands, I would take that as well, and like I'd play I used to have like a five string set on it, so it'd be like tuned to like B and shit. We would do really low stuff, and then I have another bass for like the higher stuff. Anyway, so I had that for a long time, and then like I just never played it because it weighs like
70 pounds.
It's so fucking heavy.
Yeah.
So
it's a man's instrument.
So I ended up selling it about 10 years ago. I sold it to some kid in Ohio, and as soon as I did, I just felt terrible about it. My grandfather was dead, and all that shit. Well, like maybe 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to track that damn thing down. And sure as shit, the kid still had it. He was like, I was a week away from selling this thing again. He's like, I just don't ever play it. It's too heavy. All the same shit I said about it.
Yeah.
So he sold it back to me, and it was cool because, he made a little money on it, but he didn't like gouge me.
Right.
And so, so I got it back. I had it set up. I put that fancy schmancy
pick guard
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, that's not stock.
No, that's not stock. I was like, it's a ridiculous looking instrument anyway. Well, let's how can we make this even more so? But so it's got a mirror pick guard.
But it don't look too ridiculous. I can see Gene Simmons using that.
Yeah, that's exactly
a Kiss bass, man.
Yeah, totally. I was originally I thought the neck was fucked up on it, and I got it fixed. But I was looking at replacement necks, and those things are like a really weird scale, so you can't just like put anything on them.
Was it like a 27 or something?
I don't even remember. It's something's really fucking weird about it. But this company, I can't think of their name either, but they make aluminum necks, and they make an aluminum neck replacement for that bass.
My God, I bet that thing would.
Oh, it weigh about 20 pounds.
Yeah, at least, but it'd probably balance out better.
Yeah. But like I've seen people have it done, and it looks so awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's just completely ridiculous looking. but the necks are like $800.
That's like 9 of those bases.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, I'm just going to get this neck fixed.
It's like, well, you can get the neck or a new P bass.
Right, yeah. So yeah, anyway, so I got the bass back, but I remember the first bass that I bought, it was an Ibanez, what the hell were those things called? I don't know. It was a Japanese one. It was like a 90s Japanese one. It was a nice bass. It was like, it had the thinnest neck I've ever seen in my life.
That was the Ibanez thing.
But it kept like, because of that, it's not like stable at all. Yeah. So it was constantly like out of tune. And then I kept having to get it set up. But
yeah, that's the thing about peavey though, man. Like I met James Brown, the father, the Godfather son.
Really?
Not that guy. No, that's James Brown is the engineer that designed like the 5150 and all the classic series amps and all that. And it was really cool because he's a super, super nice, sweet guy. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, I got to thank you guys because here's the deal with peavey. Say what you will about them.
Great guys.
Great guys. Give me the shirt. Say what you will about peavey instruments, man, but those guys made it possible for a lot of people that may not have the means other ways to have good instruments.
Decent shit.
Decent shit. Like that bass right there, it might be heavy as hell, but how old's that thing?
I mean, yeah, it's 40 years old.
It's like, you know how many Nashville 400 amps I've seen?
Yeah.
They're rock solid, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, they may not be the best sounding or the best playing or whatever, but they will last you forever. Yeah. So kudos.
Yeah, a lot of like doom bands play those old peavey, like the old solid state, the big amps. Like they'll use those because they're so fucking loud.
Yeah, I
can't think of what they're called.
Well, I have no idea what they would be, but like the peavey Deuce, which is like the twin thing, and then they had I had one for a long time.
What was that one? Was it the Butcher?
Mace. The Butcher was kind of like a. It might have been like an 800.
I think it was because they call it like the Mississippi Marshall.
Well, that's what I call the classic series.
Oh, okay.
Dude, some of the best tones I've ever gotten, no shit, was like a Peavey Classic 30, jumpered into a Marshall 412 with 4 vintage 30s.
Oh, wow.
Like people would look at me like, what the heck are you playing? What you got over there at 800? Yeah. It's like, no, it's a 30-watt Peavey with combo. Wow. Not even the head. It was the combo jacked into the 412.
Huh. That's interesting.
Dude, the classic series, so we got the Boss endorsement. Now we're working on the Peavey endorsement.
Well, did you ever see that show called Undercover Boss?
Yeah. Oh God.
With Peavey?
God. Yes.
It is
a train wreck.
It's really tough to watch.
It really is.
And then they had to shut their website down because all the backlash
bullshit,
and shit. I mean, they were pretty. That's
well,
pretty.
I mean, why would you put that shit out there?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Yeah. What was the guy's name who took it over? Was he the son-in-law?
It was the son-in-law that was actually kind of, I think, in disguise.
He was the undercover boss.
While Hartley was in the damn RV.
Talking in his ear.
But
it's a fascinating episode. Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating.
But the thing with James Brown, the engineer, he did the Satriani amp. He did he did he didn't do the Satriani amp. He did the Triple X, which became the Satriani. Actually, that amp was supposed to be a George Lynch signature, but they couldn't come to terms. Anyway, I'm going off in the weeds.
That's all right. La Bonita.
Yes. Madonna is waiting. That's Spanish for Madonna can wait. But anyway, James, he's done a lot of cool amps and a lot of cool gear. But those guys, I mean, the Undercover Boss thing was kind of a train wreck, but really that company, it put a lot of good instruments in a lot of kids' hands that may not have had the means otherwise to have instruments. So, yeah.
There was a thing that I was watching about, what's his name, from Queens of Stone Age?
Josh.
Yeah, the Kicks Women. Josh Homme.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. God, he's
a douche.
He's such a piece of shit. But there was something that came out, I don't know if you saw this or not, where they were talking about the secret of his tone. And he was...
Wait a minute, he's got tone?
Yeah, right. Which I figured he just played... I mean, he's an ass. But I always thought he just played one of those Ampeg, what do they call is it a V22? Reverber Rocket or some
Probably
shit.
a Reverb Rocket.
Yeah, one of those. Anyway, he was saying that he would get it was an old peavey combo amp.
Oh, yeah.
The little
it was
one?
like a shit one, too. It was like
Yeah.
the Renown or the Rage or
Some shit like that.
Yeah.
So he said that, right? Did you see the
I've
prices
seen
on those
that,
things?
yeah, because I'm like, really?
It's like a $40 amp all day long.
Yeah.
You know? And then like I saw them going for like $300-$400.
Yeah, it's like that just shows you how bullshits get started.
Oh, it's such horseshit. And then like I was watching people like trying to convince themselves that this thing sounded good. And they're like, oh yeah, well, I've been using this. It's the Josh Homme method and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, showing how they mix it in with other shit. And it's like, dude, you can get like a better fuzz pedal and it would sound, it's like, it's just horseshit.
It is horseshit.
All it is.
Yeah. But, I'm sure Josh uses it. I'm sure he does what he wants it to do, but you're not going to sound like that.
No, you're just not.
You're not going to sound like that. But, it was unbelievable. I did see that, and it's like, man, I've thrown those amps away.
Yeah, yeah.
Was I dumb?
Well, it's like I think the first guitar amp, because I played guitar before I played bass. It may have been one of those. It was a tiny little peavey.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a million different kinds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
3 million amps, 2 names.
right. It's funny. That's how Ernie Ball is with Music Man. It's like they keep naming things Stingrays.
Yeah.
Or Sterlings, and it's like
it's
like you have all these different instruments with the same names. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. It's just pick another name, man. It's not hard.
Yeah, right, and it's like so that irritates the piss out of me because I own Ernie Ball products and they're great, they're amazing. Mm-hmm. But it's like here lately they've been coming up with some like I just don't like the new body shapes and stuff like the Cutlass. At least they went with a different name. Yeah, but I just
Is that the what's the one that what's that chick's name plays?
You're talking about Gretchen?
Saint Vincent.
Oh, Saint Vincent.
She's got it kind of looks like a weird hourglass.
Like a shovel that came off the space shuttle.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. A lot of people are liking those though, man. I'm not one of them. Like I like funky shaped stuff. Like I like the Dean, some of the Dean guitars. I like
worst headstocks in the world though.
Yeah, I've never really paid much attention.
Oh my god!
You're talking about like the shape.
V? Yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
Is it? Or so you're talking from like a functional thing, or like
it just looks like shit.
Just like shit.
It's like yeah.
Well, I think they were going with symmetry with the body. Like I like it in the ML. I don't like it with the other stuff.
Yeah.
But I like Jackson, like the '80s metal guitars, the pointy ones. I dig that.
I was looking at BC Rich's today.
I was too.
Yeah,
dude. So what's your BC Rich?
Mockingbird.
Oh, dude, I like the Mockingbird, but I was kind of looking for a bitch.
Okay.
With the I think it's the 10 string.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking for one of those.
I've always wanted the one that popped up today was Japanese because the other one, the early ones are American. It's the P-Bass Mockingbird and it's got the 2 sets of P-Bass pickups.
Yeah.
And it's got like a million switches on it. I don't know what any of those things do.
No, neither do they. It's like every sound but the one you want.
Right. But it's like it's really cool looking. It's like
it does look cool. So there's a guy, Greg Chason. He was in a Jakey Lee, the Aussie guitar player. He had a band called Badlands, and he was the bass player in that. And he had one of those fucking things. But that was the first one I saw. But talk about an underrated bass player, that dude. But anyway, that was the first one I saw. But I know the exact one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you use that?
Yeah, I don't know. But and then it's got like the what do you call that wood grain? I think it starts with a K. But it's that's
Carina.
Carina. Yeah, like that's the one I want with like the old style headstock.
Yeah.
But they're so fucking expensive,
man. The Dean headstock, I like they had the Cadillac. I think that's the Les Paul with the Explorer.
I'm not sure.
That headstock looks like shit on that guitar.
Yeah,
but on the ML it looks great. I like it on the ML.
That's like the like G&Ls. Like I like the headstock. They used to be like Fenders,
right?
And then they got sued, and then they made them. Now they have like the point on the side, which a lot of people don't like them. They think they look like a can opener, which the whole thing that they say is it's actually a middle finger to Fender.
Is that what?
That's what they say. Who knows if that's real? But I always thought it was cool.
Was that one that Cottrell used, the Rampage or
I think so,
Renegade Rampage or something?
I really like G&Ls. I mean, I've owned several of them. The main bass I play is it's a Frankenstein G&L.
Okay,
so
that's right. Yeah. I
have a white one.
I like the G&L stuff, but they seem heavy. Like peavey heavy.
No, I don't think they are. The weird thing about, like, I've owned new ones and I've owned old ones, and I don't care for the new ones. Like, they just, there's something different about those necks. They're not cheap instruments.
No.
But I don't know about the guitars, but the basses, to me, they feel cheap.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it. Like, they're 6-bolt necks and the old ones are 3.
Yeah.
So they should be more stable, but I don't know. They're not as comfortable to play, and they just don't feel right. And the old ones had like this tilt function in the neck.
Yeah. Because Fender did the same thing in the 70s. Right. Now it's about the time that Leo.
Yeah. And then they said
got out of the picture.
It got too expensive to keep doing that, so they stopped putting that in.
Which it really wasn't that great of a system anyway.
No.
But the G&L stuff, like, I like the Floyds when it comes to lock and tremolos, and all the G&Ls that I kind of dig or would dig had the Kaler. And I don't know if that's still the case today, but I never really was able to make friends with the Kaler.
Yeah.
So I just really didn't explore them that much. And plus, growing up, there wasn't anywhere I could get a hold of them.
You just don't see them.
Yeah, you didn't see them, especially back then in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
I played
I just knew the name, and I knew it was supposed to be good.
Yeah, that's it. I played a Japanese G&L a couple years ago. Somebody was selling one at a Guitar Center, and I was surprised. I almost bought it.
Oh, they're great.
It was so nice.
I played one of the NAMs a few years ago in Nashville. It was a summer NAM some year. And I first sat down with some of those the import ones, and man, they're good instruments. They really are.
Yeah. That shit's come a long way. Yeah. I was actually looking at jazz basses again because that's what I need, are more basses. And I've owned so many jazz basses, but I just don't. I don't know. I never keep them. I want them. I have them. Then I don't.
They just kind of set.
Yeah, it's like, because it's a weird body shape for me. Like, I like P basses. It's a smaller body, and jazz basses are kind of like big and awkward, But
my brother is a bass player, and I think he's more of a jazz bass player. But he's got this Steve Harris P bass now, and he's just
the white one.
I think I want to say it's blue.
That's okay. That's like the old one, I think.
Yeah. But he actually that's the same bass. He just painted.
He painted it. Yeah.
But now I think he's got the blue one.
Okay.
And I think he's converted. I think that's got him where he needs to be.
The P basses. They I think those were Japanese. I think
his
I don't know. Maybe they're Mexican. I don't know. The thing I'm talking about gear.
It's always. I'm sorry. I totally
all fucking night.
Totally fucking hammered the show.
This is the thing that kills me about Fender. Real quick, and then we'll get to Madonna.
Yeah.
The thing that kills me about Fender is their colors. Like, Squier has way better colors than Fender. Like, they'll have the matching headstocks, because I like surf colors.
Right.
And you can't find that in like an American Fender unless you go custom shop.
And then you're paying $2,000.
Easy.
Yeah.
Fucking easy. And it's
for a paint job.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's all it is.
That used to piss me off about, like, which they've changed here recently. It's not so much the colors, but like, for the longest time, you couldn't get a Stratocaster with a 22 fret neck without going USA. And now they've done that. I mean, you could go a Squier, but by the time you upgraded the stuff, you might as well get the one, or the Mexican easy.
Yeah.
But now you can get a Mexican Strat with 22 fret and a Floyd.
Okay.
And that's kind of my rig.
Huh. It's so ridiculous, the prices of that shit now. It's like I was looking at Mexican jazz basses, and because I actually played that, Flea has a signature one. And the thing is fucking phenomenal. But it's like a $1,200-$1,300 fucking Mexican jazz bass. And I just can't justify that.
No.
You know?
Well, here's the thing too, like and I wonder, now that you mention it, and this is just speculation, don't take it to the bank, but I'm wondering if it's the fact that, like, I think the US ones, may be nitro. Yeah. Where the Mexicans might be more poly. And I wonder if the poly finish has something to do with the color selection.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. And you can like use cheaper wood.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a big thing. But, man, some of the Squire stuff is killer.
That's what they say.
I've got a Squire Telly, that I it just kind of is like a bedroom guitar, you know. Mm-hmm. It's great. You know, it's the wood is, I think it's, I forget, agathis, I think, but it's like a pine, which the old Fenders
were pine.
Yeah. And it does great. It's got decent pickups. It stays in tune. Neck feels good. It's not super thin. It did have some fret sprout, but I took care of that. But, I mean, you could gig with that guitar.
Yeah. If you can work on the shit yourself and do all that, you can make it work. And you're not planning on like making any money off the thing. If you have to sell it, you're not going to get it back.
Like the first thing I do to like a guitar like that, if it's just something that even if it's just a throw around thing, like I take the nut off, get rid of that plastic and put a bone or tusk or something in there. And if the pickups are cool, if the thing stays in tune and doesn't hurt to play at the store, you're probably good.
Good enough. Yeah.
You got a good husk, and I mean, you can get pickups all day long used.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
But that's part of the fun.
Yeah. Yeah. The search is always better than
or the working on stuff. You know? It's like the car, it's like the car scenario. You get a hot rod and you're always under the hood. It's the same with guitars.
Yeah.
You know?
We, the wife and I on, what was that? Thanksgiving? Christmas. We went down to her, father-in-law's place, and he lives in the, like, way the fuck out in North Carolina, in the mountains, North Carolina. And his son used to play guitar and bass and all that shit. And he goes, he has a speaker cabinet down there. If you want it, you can have it. So I was like, all right, free shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I went down there, and this thing has been down. It's got to be 30 fucking years. And I didn't know. I couldn't even tell what it was. It was so dark down there, and there was shit everywhere. I got it out and got it home. And again, it was just like covered in cobwebs, bug husks, and all kinds of shit. Cleaned it off. I got all this stuff. I cleaned the grill cloth. Here, I'll show it to you later. It's an old Yamaha guitar cabinet from like the early 80s and shit. And it still works. I don't know how well, you know, like I played bass through it a little bit just to see if it worked, and it fired up, and everything moved. But
is that the black one down there by the drum kit?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. When I went and got a drink, I walked by. I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, because I didn't know I was like, "What the fuck is this thing?" You know, it didn't have any badges or anything on it.
I remember that grill cloth because there was a store a mom pop shop back in the day, same place I got the peavey Patriot. They were a Yamaha dealer, and they had some of those. Yeah, and it's like they're probably still sitting there because they're so expensive. And people,
Yamaha makes cool shit though, man.
They do. I don't. Yeah. They really do. I don't know why they never caught on.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
so Madonna,
if you're still listening,
I bet.
When we were talking, I already know what, because I always make little pictures for each one of these. I already know what it's going to be. I already know.
I can't wait to see.
Yeah. Because the last one was Boss Pedals that we were talking. Which was, it's funny because then I'll post that shit on Instagram and shit. Dude, everybody liked it.
Yeah, because it's what's not to love, man. I'm telling you, people love Boss Pedals.
Yeah. But yeah, I was saying I'll do the PV logo. I'll do that and stuff.
God, what an ugly ass logo too. That fucking thing.
And then they tried to like change it. Yeah. Remember that in like the 90s or something?
I like
make it as pointy.
Yeah, I like the 90s logo. Like with the Van Halen 5150. I like that logo.
I don't know. It's like, look, I don't think any of them are good. You might as well just steer right into that really terrible one. And
then Eddie left, and they went back to the same pointy shit. It looks like lightning bolts and shit. So ugly.
Wow. So yeah, Madonna, man, she had a lot of hits.
She did.
Yeah.
She had
some transition.
It was great. It's smooth.
Yeah.
Really smooth. Love it. But no, man, she, I got nothing.
That's all right. Why don't we just end it?
Let's do it.
All right, so
And we'll come back and talk about gear more.
we'll talk about gear or that'll be our Patreon.
we should start a Patreon just where we can like have finances buy like old shit that nobody really wants.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, we want to be
Josh Homme amps.
Right. We want to be sponsored by Greco.
Jesus. Greco. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
I was looking at Greco bases. That's why I was looking old lawsuit bases. All right, so well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me in the Action Talk studios.
Thanks for having me again, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, anytime you want to come over, you're more than welcome.
Just hang out and talk about gear.
That's it. I think Chris Cook said he wants to come back on.
Man, get me on with Chris Cook
All
at the same time. Hook us up with something.
He was, we were talking, I'll tell you off, Mike. But maybe he was talking about maybe next week. So,
Sweet.
All right.
Love that guy.
All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Enjoy.